Golden State Media Concepts social media podcast. Time to hashtag everything. We talk about all the fun, crazy stories on social media. From Instagram to Facebook, Twitter to Tumblr, or probably even Friendster. Join us each week as we explore the quirky side of social media. It's the Golden State Media Concepts social media podcast.
It's simple, such a sad song. The one that we rely on to get us.
Hello and welcome to the GSMC Social Media News Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Sarah, and I first of all want to say Happy Veterans Day and thank you to everyone who has served. My social media feeds were full of Veterans Day posts today honoring those who have served and gone before us. In my family, we have pretty much been a Navy family. My maternal grandfather was in the Navy in World War II. My father was in the Navy. He was actually he was present at the Cuban Missile Crisis. He said it was boring. I mean, obviously it was tense, but you know, there was a lot of waiting. My uncle was also in the Navy. My oldest niece is currently in the Navy, and she married a Marine. So now I have a nephew who's a Marine, and we can add another branch of the military to our family. So thank you to my family members who have served, but thank you so much to everyone who has served and is serving and continues to serve. You, your contributions and sacrifices are amazing. So thank you. We are going to now move on to, social media news. Obviously, Veterans Day was a lot on social media today, but we'll move on to a few other things. First of all, I want to talk about the fact that the People's Choice Awards were last night. And if you don't listen to the GSMC Entertainment podcast, you might want to check it out. We have a new host. Her name is Cynthia, and she and I were talking about the People's Choice Awards on today's episode as well. And we both agreed that we tend to not watch awards shows live because we forget that they're on. With so many different ways to watch TV anymore, I never fully know what's on because so it was the 45th anniversary of the awards show, and that means that it first aired in 1974. And so in 1974, there were not that many channels. We didn't have cable, and I wasn't around in 1974, but there was no cable, and you pretty much knew, you could look up what was going on the three channels that you most likely got. So you tended to know more when the awards shows were on, and I know I should know these things, but I always seem to find out about them either after the fact or in the middle. Anyway, so Cynthia was saying the same thing, but as I said, the People's Choice Awards were last night. It was Kevin Hart's first appearance, after his first public appearance after his near fatal car crash back in September. He did post a picture on Instagram. That's not a public appearance, of course, but he did post a picture of himself as the Rock, a young Rock, for Halloween. So, a shout out and maybe a little bit of good-natured ribbing to his Jumanji star, Dwayne Johnson. But he made his first public appearance last night when he received an award for his Netflix special, Irresponsible. So that is, he accepted the Comedy Act Award, which was presented to him by Robert Downey Jr., and he received a standing ovation, which makes sense because that was an incredibly scary car accident that he was involved in, and he's very lucky to be alive. He said, first and foremost, man, thank God, because I definitely don't have to be here. He went on to say he appreciates life more now after his accident, especially the things that really matter, like his wife and kids. He also thanked the people for their energy and support during his difficult time, saying, you have no idea the effect you have on us as entertainers. So it's wonderful that he is healing and able to get out and was able to attend the awards ceremony to accept that award for his Netflix special. Other award winners, I'm not going to go through the whole list, of course, because that would just be crazy talk when you can look it up yourself. And there's so many. I mean, it would make for a very dull podcast. So, probably surprising no one, Avengers Endgame took home the award for Best Movie, and I'm not being snarky there. I mean, I don't think that would be a surprise to most people considering how insanely popular it was and how well it did. Gwen Stefani was honored during the awards show with the Fashion Icon Prize. She actually wore a dress by, Vera Wang that said, fashion icon on it. Hey, way to go with a theme. That's what I'm trying to say. I love a good theme. So, Avengers won. The comedy movie of 2019 was Murder Mystery. Action movie was, Avengers Endgame. It won in 2 categories. What else? Male movie star of 2019 was Robert Downey Jr. Female movie star was Zendaya for her role in Spider-Man Far From Home. Lots of superhero movies in the world. Comedy movie star Noah Centineo for The Perfect Date. Action movie star Tom Holland for Spider-Man Far From Home. Just all sorts of categories. Beyonce won for The Lion King in the animated movie star of 2019. Show of 2019, Stranger Things, also not terribly surprising. Also won for drama show of 2019. It didn't win for comedy show, but there are funny moments in it. That was The Big Bang Theory that won for comedy show. Reality show was Keeping Up with the Kardashians. So lots and lots of Cole Sprouse won twice. He won for his role in 5 Feet Apart, as well as male TV star for his role in Riverdale. Female TV star Millie Bobby Brown of Stranger Things. I love her. So there's just a lot of different categories, and you can find the full list of winners if you want to, or you can check out video clips on YouTube or on E's website. There are all sorts of places that you can look it up, or maybe you actually watched it in real time because you're not a dork like me. Let's move on from my dorkiness. Here is a story that it's actually a little bit, it's not trending now, but it keeps for some reason popping up in my news feed. So it makes me want to talk about it, even though it happened around Halloween. We'll just keep celebrating Halloween, right? And that is, I don't know, maybe you've seen it. A woman went into labor and she went to the doctor to have her baby, of course. And her doctor was dressed up for Halloween as the Joker. The pictures are a little creepy because the Joker is a little creepy. So, this doctor dressed up as the Joker, and then I don't know, if I was the woman giving birth, is that really what you want to look at while you're giving birth? The doctor is standing down there, helping you out. And B, is that traumatizing for the baby to pop out and that's the first thing the baby sees? I don't know. So the doctor dressed up as the Joker, and of course it went viral on social media. The woman's due date was not until November 5th, but this baby decided to make an appearance on Halloween. And so they went to the hospital around 12:30 p.m. Wife Brittany's doctor came in to meet with us and check things out. This is according to Brittany's husband, Justin, and he's dressed as the Joker. I mean, full makeup, green hair, all sorts of creepiness. Justin says that's when we found out he was dressed for Halloween that day as the Joker. We found it very humorous and were a little excited that we would have a baby delivered by the Joker. In fact, I mentioned to my wife that I should go get some face paint and fix her up as Harley Quinn. Unfortunately, I didn't. It would have made the story that much sweeter. Yeah, but she would have sweated it all off, so that's not helpful. Oh man, the Joker, delivering a baby. Justin says he came back in to check on her around 4 p.m. that afternoon. She again wasn't ready, so he said he was going home to pass out candy and change clothes. My wife said, "Aw, we would hope that you wouldn't change." I would be like, "Go ahead. Nope, no problem. Take off the makeup, come back looking like a doctor." Brittany was ready for delivery at 8 p.m., so the nurse called her doctor in, and he showed up as in full Joker attire and delivered their baby, whom they named Oakland. So there my wife is, staring the Joker straight in the eyes while delivering our baby. What a sight. I was holding her leg up and snapping pictures. The wife's, not the baby's. Yeah, okay, so they probably had the name already picked out. I'm would have been kind of appropriate if they had named the baby, like Harley Quinn or something along those lines. But I am glad that they named her Oakland, which I am assuming that that name was already chosen. She's adorable, of course. So congratulations to the family for their new addition. And, that's definitely a story. I was not delivered by the Joker as far as I know. I'll have to check with my mother. We're going to take our first break of the podcast. And when we come back, we'll be talking about, some updates on celebrity health news. So stay tuned. You're listening to the GSMC social media news podcast, and I'll be right back.
Do you want to be healthier, yet you just don't know what to do? All these shows telling you this and that, but nothing seems to work. Well, listen close. Golden State Media Concepts has got something great for you. The Health and Wellness Podcast, dedicated to workout trends, healthy eating habits, diet, and everything about healthy living. Join us in our banters as we help you not just live life to the fullest, but live it to the healthiest.
Welcome back to the GSMC Social Media News Podcast. Before the break, we were talking about baby Oakland being delivered by the Joker, which the parents thought was great. I think it's great for someone who's not me. But we're moving on, as I said, to some health updates. The first is that former President Jimmy Carter has been admitted to the hospital for a procedure to relieve pressure on his brain. This has been trending quite a bit. I keep seeing it pop up on various sources on my news feeds. And he was admitted tonight to Emory University Hospital in Atlanta ahead of a procedure to relieve pressure on his brain. This is according to CNN. The Carter Center announced this in a statement which they posted to Twitter. The pressure was caused by bleeding from his recent falls, the center said. Carter, who is 95, will undergo the procedure Tuesday morning. So tomorrow morning, President Carter is resting comfortably and his wife Rosalind is with him, they said in their statement. This news comes after the former president was hospitalized twice last month for 2 falls in his house in Plains, Georgia. He required 14 stitches above his eyebrow after his first fall when he hit his forehead on a sharp edge, and later received treatment for a minor pelvic fracture after his second fall. Oh, hang in there, President Carter. He's actually the first president that I really remember, which is telling you my age, but I give you clues to that all the time. And he is just really an amazing man, the things that he has accomplished. And, and in fact, in terms of amazing in health, he previously survived brain and liver cancer. And he's 95 and he's still building houses for Habitat for Humanity. And he and Rosalind still hold hands. And I don't know, they've been married forever and they look like they're just an amazing couple. I I respect them and him so much. He is, so he celebrated his 95th birthday on October 1st, and that made him the oldest living former U.S. president, which was a title once held by George H.W. Bush, who died in late 2018 at the age of 94. So he has volunteered for Habitat for Humanity along with Rosalind for 35 years. And he said about his recent fall, I fell down and hit my forehead on a sharp edge and had to go to the hospital. And they took 14 stitches in my forehead and my eye is black, as you've noticed. But I had a number one priority, and that was to come to Nashville and build houses. He said this to a group of volunteers the same day he was hospitalized last month. And then, earlier this month, Carter said he found he was absolutely and completely at ease with death after doctors told him in 2015 that his cancer had spread to his brain. I assumed naturally that I was going to die very quickly. I obviously prayed about it. Excuse me, I just had a pop-up block the quote, so that makes it hard to read. I obviously prayed about it. I didn't ask God to let me live, but I asked God to give me a proper attitude toward death. And I found that I was absolutely and completely at ease with death. It didn't really matter to me whether I died or lived, except I was going to miss my family and miss the work at the Carter Center and miss teaching your Sunday school services. He said this at church sometimes and so forth. All those delightful things. I love this man. I have loved this man my whole life ever since, I was little when he was president. Well, I was really little when he was president, but, he's the first president I remember, and, I've just had huge respect for him. So, thoughts, prayers, good wishes, all those good things go out to, him, his wife, his family, and the surgeons who are going to be performing this procedure on him tomorrow. In other updates, we have talked about Alex Trebek before and his very open and candid conversations that he has on Jeopardy about his own health struggles. Well, tonight he got a little emotional, actually, and this has been trending again on social media with lots of people tweeting. He recently revealed that he has resumed chemotherapy for stage 4 pancreatic cancer. And so tonight, when he turned to contestant Dhruv Gower for the final Jeopardy answer, in the category of famous phrases, the clue was in the title of a groundbreaking 1890 expose of poverty in New York City slums. These 3 words follow how the. Gower revealed his response, which included a drawing of a heart. What is "We love you, Alex"? Well, that's 4 words, but that's okay. That part wasn't surprising. The much-loved Trebek is one of the most revered game show hosts, and this is from the Washington Post. He's one of the most revered game show hosts of all time. His reaction, however, was surprising, for the typically stoic host became emotional as he read the message. That's very kind. Thank you, he said. And there was an audible reaction from the studio audience. Trebek became so choked up that he struggled to get out his next words. Cost you $1,995. You are left with 5. So, probably if you know you don't know the answer, it's a good way to just take that time. Take that time and do what, get your message out there. Trebek then composed himself and moved on to the other 2 contestants, Kyle Jones and Emma Betcher, both of whom guessed the correct answer, what is "other half lives." But the moment, of course, quickly started to make the rounds on social media, and "We love you, Alex" began trending on Twitter. For context, Alex had just shared with us that he was re-entering treatment for pancreatic cancer. We were all hurting for him so badly, Gower tweeted tonight. When Final Jeopardy came up, I could have tried to puzzle it together, but really just kept thinking about Alex and thought he should know. That's very, very sweet. Jeopardy fans have been rallying around Trebek, who is 79, since he disclosed his diagnosis in March. I plan to beat the low survival rate statistics for this disease. Truth told, I have to, because under the terms of my contract, I have to host Jeopardy for 3 more years, said Trebek, who started hosting the show in 1984. In August, Trebek announced that his treatments had ended and he would return to host the 36th season, which started airing in September. Several weeks later, he updated viewers to say that after doctors found his numbers went sky high, he was resuming chemotherapy treatment. And then during an interview with CTV last month, Trebek assured fans he would keep hosting Jeopardy as long as possible, and as always, he spoke candidly about his diagnosis. And here is a very similar theme. I'm not afraid of dying. You may have heard that just a few minutes ago. He said, "I'm not afraid of dying. I've lived a good life, a full life, and I'm nearing the end of that life. If it happens, why should I be afraid?" So, some updates on two very beloved people who are very well known for different things, but very beloved in the realms in which they inhabit. So again, nothing but love and prayers and all that good stuff goes out into the universe for these two men as they continue facing health struggles. We are going to take our second break of the podcast, and when we come back, we're going to be talking about some awesome young women. Stay tuned. You're listening to the GSMC Social Media News Podcast, and I'll be right back.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Welcome back to the GSMC Social Media News Podcast. Before the break, we were talking about former President Jimmy Carter, about his procedure that he's having tomorrow, as well as Alex Trebek and the fact that he's resuming chemotherapy for prostate cancer, but also that We Love You, Alex has been trending on Twitter tonight after a contestant wrote that as his final Jeopardy answer. This next story is about amazing young women, and this kept popping up on my social media feeds recently. The headline is, "Girls won all 5 top prizes in National STEM Contest for Middle Schoolers." Awesome. And so let's find out about these middle schoolers and the STEM contest. Oh, the picture is adorable. They all look so very, very, very proud and sweet and smiley, and I love it. So 14-year-old Elena Gassler had noticed her mother struggling with blind spots while driving their family's car. Though not even old enough to drive herself, the Pennsylvania middle schooler, this is from Upworthy.com, the Pennsylvania middle schooler designed a system that uses a webcam to display obstacles blocking a driver's line of sight to make driving safer. Geez, at 14, I could barely, I was not this brilliant at 14. I'm not this brilliant now. Anyway, last week that design project earned Gassler the $25,000 Samueli Foundation Prize, the top award in the 2019 Broadcom Masters, Math, Applied Science, Technology, and Engineering for Rising Stars competition. Masters is a acronym for Math, Applied Science, Technology, and Engineering for Rising Stars. So, as I mentioned, Elena was not the only person, or not the only female who won in this contest. All 5 of the winners were chosen from 30 finalists selected from 2,348 applicants in 47 states. I wonder which 3 states are not in there. Anyway, they were chosen by a panel of distinguished scientists, engineers, and educators. This year, 60% of the finalists were female. That is awesome. That is a first for this competition, and that's an encouraging sign for STEM, which is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics in that field, in which women are still very underrepresented. Congratulations to all of our amazing finalists, said Paula Golden, president of the Broadcom Foundation. It's exciting to see so many young women scientists and engineers, 60% in this competition, in the competition this year. I believe that this bodes well for achieving greater gender equity in future STEM careers. So congratulations to the top 5 winners. That is Gassler, who won for improving automobile safety by removing blind spots. The $10,000 winner for Lemelson Award for Invention went to Rachel Berge for spotted lanternflies. Stick 'em or trick 'em. That just makes me, that's an awesome title. Marconi/Samueli Award for Innovation, $10,000 went to Sidor Clare, Bound and Bricked. Robert Wood Johnson Foundation Award. That just makes me think of PBS. This is brought to you by the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation. Anyway, Robert Wood Johnson Foundation Award for Health Advancement of $10,000 went to Alexis McAvoy for designing efficient, low-cost, eco-friendly activated carbon for removal of heavy metals from water. Awesome. And then finally, the STEM Talent Award, sponsored by DoD STEM, $10,000 went to Lauren Egiaga for ozone depletion, how it affects us. That is awesome. I love that. I was never horrible at math and science, but they weren't my favorite. So I just, but I have a niece who's 14. Oh my gosh, she's the age of the main winner. She's 14 and she loves both math and science. And I say, awesome. I mean, really, if you love math and science, if you love reading, if you love whatever, I'm proud of you, and that's awesome. But for a field that is very underrepresented in terms of women, I tried to say all of that at once. This definitely is a good sign that maybe there will be some more equity among the genders in the future. And you are awesome. All 5 of you young women are awesome. I can just tell you that right now. I don't know any of you, but those are impressive. Our final story is related to this story, and it actually happened in October, so it's not trending immediately, but it popped up on my news feed again today, and I realized that I had wanted to talk about it. It is also about young women and, kind of closing that gender gap. It is that Delta Airlines flew 120 girls from Salt Lake City, Utah to NASA in Houston as part of an initiative to close the gender gap in aviation. This says last week, but the article was written by Sanya Mansour, October 13th, 2019, and this is from Time Magazine. So there's a quote saying, "We're taking ownership to improve gender diversity by exposing girls at a young age and providing a pipeline so that 10 years from now, they will be the pilots in the Delta cockpit, inspiring generations of women who follow," said Beth Poole, general manager of pilot development at Delta, who helped begin the initiative in 2015. FAA data from 2017 shows that women make up just over 7%. I didn't know it was that low. Wow. 7% of the 609,306 pilots in the U.S., according to Women in Aviation, a nonprofit dedicated to the advancement of women in the industry. Everyone involved in the plane's takeoff, flight, and landing, from pilots to ramp agents working on the ground, was a woman, the airline said. The initiative first began in 2015 and has since brought 600 female students on its journey, according to Delta. The company's goal is to, quote, diversify a male-dominated industry and expose girls to STEM careers at a young age. The girls also met Jeanette Epps, NASA astronaut and aerospace engineer, which is awesome. Delta's initiative speaks to a broader problem in the aviation industry, one that's been recognized by the International Civil Aviation Organization, a specialized UN agency that provides a global forum for member states to adopt and implement international aviation standards. At a keynote address at a Global Aviation Gender Summit in August 2018, ICAO Secretary General Dr. Fang Liu said that air transport must address head-on why women are still underrepresented in the majority of the technical and executive positions in aviation. The International Institute for Sustainable Development, a Canadian research group, noted last year that almost 80% of flight attendants are female, but barely 5% of pilots are women, and the proportion of women in technical or leadership positions in aviation is even lower. So even though, it used to be that pilots were men and stewardesses, as they were called, were women, that has not been the case for a long time. And there are now, obviously there are still more women as flight attendants. There are still more men as pilots. So it's one thing. Hey, if you want to be a flight attendant, cool. If you want to be a pilot, cool. But don't choose based just because of your so-called gender. The picture of the pilots and the girls is really cool. I mean, it's a plane full of women. You don't see that every day. And going to NASA on a plane with all women, I think, is just a really cool way to encourage young women to at least explore STEM and see if it's something that is of interest to them, because they're not often encouraged in school, sometimes not in their families. So this is, I think, a very cool initiative, and it's encouraging. So go awesome young women, go amazing old women, go amazing middle-aged women, go amazing youngish women, whatever age you are, go you, girl power, women power, all that good stuff. That concludes our social media news podcast for this evening. As always, speaking of social media, if you are a fan of this podcast, we would love it if you could do all those things that help us out in a world dominated by the internet and social media, which is follow us on social media, like posts, share posts, do all that great stuff. Subscribe to us, whether on YouTube or in Instagram. iTunes. Seriously, I need to go to bed apparently. And give us a nice review. We would really appreciate those 5-star reviews. Help us get out there so more people can hear our podcasts. Thank you very much again for joining me. Please join me again on Thursday and we'll find out what's trending in the world. Have a great week.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Social Media Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.